us why you're not supporting Trump as a veteran.
Well, I'm also a veteran, but I'm also a member of the Remember Your Oath organization out of D.C. We're actually protesting the federal occupation of our city by the National Guard, by the violation of the Posse Comitatus Act. It's just, Donald Trump's tyranny, his fascism. He's trying to undertake a coup. He's destroying our country. He's violating the Constitution every single day. He's strengthening ties with Russia. That makes no sense. So it's things like this. And meanwhile, he's destroying the economy and dragging children into concentration camps in a Florida swamp. Donald Trump needs to be stopped now.
North Carolina, battleground state, hurricane recovery, early voting chaos, and a whole lot of contradictions nobody wants to address. Here's what we're seeing. People who screamed about government overreach now demanding bailouts. Voters who wanted transparency defending redactions. Folks who preached accountability going silent when it's their team on the hot seat. This compilation hits it all. Epstein files, immigration raids shutting down businesses, election drama, and economic promises that don't survive contact with reality. When the math stops working, loyalty can't cover it up. Economics doesn't negotiate. Welcome back to Mind Mirror. Let's break it down.
President Trump is here in North Carolina for a rally today on the same day that the Justice Department released thousands of files connected to the Epstein case, but they only released a portion of the documents that they were supposed to release, and many of those files were heavily redacted. Do you think that the full files should be released?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you think that they should release the full unedited files?
I think no matter for not protecting Trump or protecting anybody, I think the Epstein files should be released to everybody. I think we should know what happened and who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. It don't matter who it is.
Do you think they should release the full files?
Absolutely. But they're not going to do that. There's too many people involved.
Here's something rare. Actual bipartisan agreement. Release the files, show the names, let accountability happen. But there's a gap between demanding transparency and handling what comes next. We've seen this before. Panama Papers, Paradise Papers, massive leaks exposing corruption, headlines for a week, outrage tweets, then nothing. The powerful stayed powerful because exposure without enforcement is just entertainment. You want real accountability? You need prosecutors willing to act, a public that remembers past the news cycle, and you need to accept the names might include people you voted for, donated to, defended online. Corruption isn't partisan. It's about power and access. So if you're only demanding justice when it hurts the other team, you're not fighting for victims. You're keeping score.
That whole ordeal, I don't even know what to believe anymore, because I feel like everything can somehow be covered up. So even when something is being released, it's like, how do you know it's being released to its fullest?
I think there's more important things to talk about than the Epstein files.
Kids, I have multiple kids myself, and I wouldn't want anything bad to happen to my kids. I'd want to protect them. So I don't know why they're being held back, but I hope there's a better reason for them doing this. I feel they're doing the best that they can. I mean, obviously, you're going to have a lot of mad people here. We have to let the law do their job and let them figure out what's going on. We're not the Justice Department. They're the ones that's going to determine what's going on.
It shouldn't be released in increments. It should be released all at once.
The Epstein files are out today, but they're heavily redacted. Do you think the administration should release the full files?
Sure, they can manipulate anything they want. What you see, you can't believe.
The truth's going to come out eventually.
Tell us why you're not supporting Trump as a veteran.
Well, I'm also a veteran, but I'm also a member of the Remember Your Oath organization out of D.C. We're actually protesting the federal occupation of our city by the National Guard, by the violation of the Posse Comitatus Act. It's just, Donald Trump's tyranny, his fascism. He's trying to undertake a coup. He's destroying our country. He's violating the Constitution every single day. He's strengthening ties with Russia. That makes no sense. So it's things like this. And meanwhile, he's destroying the economy and dragging children into concentration camps in a Florida swamp. Donald Trump needs to be stopped now.
When everything's an emergency, nothing is. Fascism, coups, concentration camps. These words carry historical weight. When you deploy them for every policy disagreement, they lose meaning. People tune out. You want to oppose deportation practices? Do it with specifics, numbers, policy alternatives. Comparing detention facilities to genocides doesn't mobilize fence sitters. It alienates them. Save nuclear rhetoric for nuclear moments. Otherwise, you're just noise.
This just in, CBS's Kennedy Center Honors, which aired last night, just hit an all-time ratings low. Trump made himself the host of the event last night. He was the first president ever to do that. He yesterday posted telling everybody to tune in, and well, they didn't. Preliminary Nielsen data shows that only 2.65 million viewers tuned into the Trump-hosted show, down from 4.1 million in 2024. That's a stunning 35% year-over-year collapse. This year, the only kind of known celebrity names honored were Sylvester Stallone, Michael Crawford, Kiss, George Strait, and Gloria Gaynor. Trump has, of course, made a big deal of his takeover of the Kennedy Center. He had his hand-picked board illegally change the name to the Trump Kennedy Center, even though the official name can only be changed via Congress, and he made himself chair of the board. And since Trump took it over, attendance has plummeted at the events, and now this ratings drop follows that same pattern. We're going to keep you up to date, so make sure you're following along.
A 35% ratings collapse is brutal, and there's a business lesson here. Brand fatigue is real. When you're everywhere, every news cycle, every controversy, every event, people get exhausted, even supporters. Attention doesn't equal admiration. Hate watching still counts as watching, until people just change the channel. The Kennedy Center showcases honorees, not the host. When you make yourself the centerpiece instead of letting others shine, you've misread the room. You can't be the main character in every story. Sometimes stepping back is the power move. Otherwise, you become background noise, and a 35% drop proves it.
Kid Rock, a huge Trump supporter, MAGA lover, was forced to close his restaurant down because ICE raided his restaurant. He's down too many employees to have his restaurant open. Now, the restaurant is in Nashville, and Kid Rock says he's happy to support these ICE raids. So at least he's putting his money where his mouth is and supporting the fact that even his own restaurant can't remain open.
Staying consistent when it costs you money is rare. Most people fold when ideology hits their wallet. But this shutdown shows what happens when political rhetoric meets economic reality. American hospitality runs on immigrant labor, restaurants, hotels, agriculture. The infrastructure depends on it. Remove that workforce without a replacement strategy, the system doesn't adjust. It breaks. People cheering these enforcement actions aren't thinking about supply chains, labor shortages, or price increases. They're not asking who fills those jobs at wages businesses can afford. When your favorite restaurant closes, when grocery prices spike, when construction stalls, that's the trade-off. If you supported the enforcement, own the cost. Don't act shocked when consequences arrive.
To be clear, Kid Rock is not at all involved in the day-to-day operations of his restaurant, but he makes it very clear to the press that he fully supports any of Trump's policies regarding deportations anywhere. We wouldn't really expect anything less. Kid Rock has been an avid Trump supporter for a very long time, and I imagine there are very few things that Trump could do that he would not support.
This is a red alert moment, guys. North Carolina has just become the latest state to help Donald Trump and the Republicans rig the midterms in advance. If you don't believe me, check this out.
The motivation behind this redraw is simple and singular. Draw a new map that will bring an additional Republican seat to the North Carolina congressional delegation.
They're being explicit about it. They are trying to redraw congressional maps all over the country to make sure that Donald Trump and the Republicans never lose their grasp on power again. If you don't believe that it's that explicit, if you don't believe that these assholes are terrified of actually losing to Democrats in the upcoming midterms, well, then I got a bridge to sell you.
Republicans hold a razor-thin margin in the United States House of Representatives. And if Democrats flip 4 seats in the upcoming midterm elections, they will take control of the House and torpedo President Trump's agenda.
So in other words, guys, they are trying to take your power away as the voter to register your discontent with this administration in the 2026 midterms. They are literally trying to take your power away. That is why it's so important to support organizations like the Unfuck America Tour, because we understand that the work we are putting in today, well, that's going to help us overcome these hurdles that Republicans are putting into place. So make sure to hit that link in my bio below. There you can sign up to volunteer, you can sign up to donate, you can purchase tickets to our upcoming event down in Phoenix in December. And if you guys want to see the Unfuck America Tour before then, we're actually going to be at the Virginia Tech campus on November 3rd, because there's an election coming up there that is now more important than ever before. We got to put in the work now so we can clean up in the midterms. So whether you got $5, whether you got $10, whether you got $50, every little bit counts, guys. And this has got to be a team effort.
Redrawing maps to guarantee wins is corrupt. Both sides do it, but that doesn't make it acceptable. If you need gerrymandering to win, your policies aren't popular enough to succeed on merit. You're choosing voters instead of letting voters choose you. That's anti-democratic. But outrage alone changes nothing. Want fair maps? Show up to local elections? Vote for secretaries of state? Support independent redistricting commissions. The real power grab is happening in state legislatures. That's where you stop it.
Being a North Carolinian, I realize that there is no other place like North Carolina. Even if I have not visited there yet, just based off what North Carolina has to offer, I know there's not any other place like North Carolina. And do I get tired of North Carolina and have, you know, my moments, oh my God, oh my God. Yes, but I'm from here. I can say that. I can talk about it. But nobody else can talk about North Carolina. Okay? But what I will say is, like, North Carolina has NFL, NBA, mountains, the beach, a lot of historical places, the countryside, some city, if you want to go, you know, to some city. Like, you have a place that, like, you don't really have to go out to, like, Atlanta, but you can still feel like you in, like, a little Atlanta place. Like, it's called Charlotte, okay? And then, like, we have, like, Bojangles. I think that's the big, that's the, that's the best part. Like, Bojangles. Call that bitch Bojangles.
What an absolutely incredible night it was last night at MAGA Square Garden. 100,000 people, 20,000 inside, 75,000 outside. Unbelievable. President Trump now hitting on all cylinders. Now, we're in North Carolina today. We're in Winston-Salem. Let me give you the rundown. The early votes coming out of North Carolina, as of Friday, were off the charts for President Trump and the Republicans. This has been unheard of. Nobody saw this coming. President Trump is winning the early and combined mail-in vote in North Carolina as of Friday at 6 p.m. and it's not even close. He's winning it easily. This was the firewall for North Carolina. This is where Harris had to build up this early vote lead like they did in 2020 and then hope to hang on. That has evaporated. Trump is actually winning this. Even more bad news for Harris here in North Carolina. The early votes being banked by the Trump campaign in the areas that were hit by Hurricane Helene off the charts. So people there that got bashed by the hurricane, a lot of people thought, okay, this is going to help Harris. These are Republican voters. They're not going to show up. They can't find their polling places. Their houses are washed away. They're showing up in droves to early vote. They're upset with the FEMA response. Now, here's the other disaster going on for the Harris campaign in North Carolina. You take their black precincts that they've got to carry by huge margins, 600-700 votes like Obama did and like Clinton did and like Biden did. Some of these districts, they are way down in early voting. I mean, it has fallen off the charts. That they should be at 15 or 20 or 30% turnout. Some of them are 5 or 10. Here's the bottom line. I don't know what the black vote in North Carolina is going to be for Trump, but right now, looking at these early results in the black precincts where Harris needed a big turnout, it's not there. It's not happening for them. Blacks are either voting for Trump or staying home, but it's certainly not there for Kamala Harris. All bad news in North Carolina. Trump is going to carry the Tar Heel state. It's not going to be close.
Take every pre-election prediction with massive skepticism. Polls have been wrong before. Data gets cherry-picked. But if these numbers are real, they reveal something. Democrats have a mobilization crisis, not a messaging crisis. Getting people to vote is different from convincing them your ideas are right. One side is showing up, the other isn't. Grievance politics works because fear and anger drive turnout. But relying on emotion means when it fades, so does support. Early voting trends don't predict final outcomes. 2020 proved that. Don't celebrate or despair based on incomplete data. Just vote.
Hey MAGA, on behalf of Blue voters, I just want to say congratulations. We are so excited that you won. Truly, we are. I mean, the things you guys have promised, we know are going to make our lives so much better. And I cannot wait till the war ends in 24 hours. I mean, that's going to be lit. I can't wait to get a concept of a healthcare plan actually into a healthcare plan, because I do need healthcare. And I know you guys are going to get that done ASAP. I'm so excited to have electricity that's going to be half the price immediately. I mean, I can't believe how fast he's promised this stuff. That's what is like life-saving for me, right? Groceries are going to be cheap. I mean, I think they're going to be like practically free, even while you go manage to round up all the people that got us the food. I mean, you guys are fucking brilliant. And then let's see what else. Cheap rent. Yes. Lower cost in housing. You got this. Higher wages. I didn't hear about that, but I trust that you're going to get that done, right? Anything else? Oh, gas. I'm thinking $1 a gallon, 75 cents. That works for me. But whatever you guys think is best, because you know it's best. And I know you're going to get this done. And I can't wait till you get inflation down to like nothing. I mean, you guys are so good. He's the best businessman in the world. Why won't this happen? Why shouldn't this be done like...
The sarcasm cuts deep because the promises were absurd. End wars in 24 hours, half-price electricity, free groceries while deporting farm workers, healthcare plans that never materialized. Campaign promises are always inflated, but there's ambitious and there's delusional. When voters believe impossible claims, they're setting themselves up for disappointment. But here's the check. Every politician does this. Different promises, same pattern. Loan forgiveness blocked by courts. Walls that never get funded. Different flavors, same disappointment. Stop voting based on rally speeches. Vote based on track records and whose policies serve your real interests. If you only demand honesty from the opposition while giving your side a pass, you're not holding anyone accountable. You're picking teams.
We don't identify as MAGA because we favor segregation or because we want some whitewashed version of America. That narrative doesn't even make sense if you actually look at who supports this movement. You'll see Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, men, women, young, old, all of it. It's one of the most diverse coalitions in the country. The reason it triggers people so much is because it challenges the story you were sold. The left turned MAGA into a four-letter word, but the movement is bigger than race. It's about values. Faith, work ethic, independence, and pride. It's about remembering who built this country, not by color, but by character. After World War II, America was thriving. Factories were booming, families were strong, and innovation was unstoppable. That was greatness, but it also posed a threat because if America becomes the model for other nations, the elite banking class of the world that profits off of debt and war would lose control. So they pushed new ideas: globalization, climate activism, world cooperation. Sounds familiar, right? But behind those buzzwords, they dismantled factories, shipped jobs overseas, and sold our children's prosperity to the lowest bidder. Then they rewired the education system, teaching you to be a victim and blame your neighbor instead of the system. The media played its part, keeping us angry, divided, and distracted. Culture wars replaced real progress. And while everyone argues online, the same elites cash in on our downfall. Because a united America that's proud, productive, free is their biggest threat. That's why they attack MAGA. That's why they attack Trump. Because in his second term, he has shown the world that wars can end, crime can drop, and economies can grow through production, not speculation. So when you see other countries praising his efforts, that's MAGA. When you see crime going down, that's MAGA, not the noise about race, gender, or government handouts. Now it's time for you to decide which side you fall on and what kind of future you're choosing.
There's truth here, wrapped in selective memory. Post-World II America was economically strong. If you were white, male, and not living under Jim Crow. For everyone else, that greatness didn't exist. So when people talk about returning to that era, great for who? Globalization hurt manufacturing. Factories closed. Communities collapsed. That pain deserves solutions. Better trade deals, workforce retraining, infrastructure investment, not tariffs that raise prices or isolationism that shrinks markets. The elite banking class critique has merit. Wall Street crashed the economy in 2008, got bailouts while people lost homes. But vague gestures at shadowy elites aren't solutions. Demand specific regulations. Name the policies. The movement tapped into legitimate frustration, economic anxiety, cultural displacement, valid feelings, but the policies offered don't match the rhetoric. Tax cuts for billionaires don't help factory workers. Deportations create labor shortages. If you're fighting for working people, fight for policies that serve them. Universal health care, affordable housing, higher wages, not slogans that feel good but deliver nothing. So what did we just witness? A perfect snapshot of where we're at. Contradictions stacked on contradictions. People demanding transparency while defending secrecy. Voters preaching self-reliance while expecting bailouts. Campaign promises crashing into basic economics. And yeah, the movement's complicated. It's not just one thing. Economic anxiety is real. Cultural backlash exists. Media manipulation happens. But none of that excuses the contradictions. None of it makes the math work. Here's what matters. Mocking people doesn't change minds. Dunking on voters doesn't win elections. And if all you do is point at the other side's failures without building something better, you're just adding to the noise. So ask yourself, what are you actually fighting for? Not against, for. In policy terms, not slogans. Because politics isn't spectator sports. You don't just cheer for your team and boo everyone else. You're supposed to be building a society, together, even with people you disagree with. And if that sounds naive, fine. But the alternative is what we've got. Endless culture wars, zero progress, and everyone losing except the people at the top. Drop a comment. Tell me where I'm wrong. Share this with someone who needs the reality check. The contradictions are getting louder. Somebody's got to call them out. See you next time.